laning phase. 5.5 minutes Midas. Let's see if TNC can keep that timing up here. Interested to see how Mineski responds to this more from themselves, since, they've run it a few times. They ran it to great effect last game. I want to see if they understand its weaknesses as well, Mike.
Be interesting. Mineski, they get rid of that Pugna now. Final banout's coming out, TNC. One left for them. Of course, I mean, you were mentioning whether the Morphling would keep up with the Mineski Morphling we saw last game, but, I mean, this is TNC. If there's one team that is probably going to be the favourites for this SEA qualifier, apart from Fnatic, TNC are up there. See if Mineski can put up I say put up a good fight, but Mineski's also a fantastic team in their own right. I'm just very excited, John. This is going to be a good matchup. Very good one indeed. I do feel like it'll probably be fairly close as well in comparison to the last series, which was just a 2-0.
Yeah, I feel like this is definitely going to be a bit tighter. I wouldn't be surprised if we go with full 3 games. TNC, of course, has done fairly well for themselves despite the setbacks that the team has had. Of course, we previous roster issues aside, they did take the crown in WESG, if I'm correct. So they've done well for themselves despite some setbacks here and there, and a lot of people are rooting for these guys. And funny enough, this is kind of, I say very loosely, because Mineski isn't quite as Filipino as it was before, but this is also home turf fight. Both teams kind of home based in the Philippines. Well, at least Mineski used to be. I believe they're more of Malaysia now, but both of these teams does have that Philippine heritage in them, and that should get a few of the watchers a bit excited, maybe a bit too passionate, if you don't mind me preempting that.
You had to add that in there, didn't you? Somehow, you had to fit in the fact that the Philippines was involved in this game, didn't you? That is unbelievable, John.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shout out to all the Filipinos watching as well. Good to have you here. Of course, even as you say that, I've got a mate that's a big TNC fan messaging me. Told me to put all that I've got, bet on TNC. They're guaranteed to win this, apparently. I don't know about that one, John, but nevertheless, Queen of Pain will be the final pickup for TNC, and I like this one as well. Again, they're going with that same kind of, we're all in, we're going to have massive team fights, we've got heaps of pick-off potential. The only question is, John, where is the Queen of Pain laning?
10 seconds
remaining. It's going to be a rough time to predict exactly where. I want to say off lane. I want to say we're going to see the Queen of Pain off lane again. Morphling on that safe and OD down mid. They could also just make it ridiculous. Throw Queen of Pain mid, OD off, Morphling safe. I mean, there's a lot of interchangeability with these 3 heroes. It really comes down to, I think, lane matchups they're looking for. But I think the most likely thing is that Queen of Pain in the off lane. We've seen it before. It's not going to be the most surprising thing in the world. There was a period of time where Queen of Pain was a very, very popular offlaner. So it wouldn't be surprising to me to see that in the offlane. But I do want to see how Mineski responds. This lineup from TNC is very potent.
Yeah.
It does require a bit of farm and definitely a lot of EXP. Because even the Venge and the Earthshaker really want EXP to be effective. So they might have some issues if they don't find that space for each other come mid-game. But once you have level 6 on every single one of these heroes, save for the Venge, you probably don't need the Venge as much. But once you have 6 on every single one, save for Venge, the team fight potential from TNC is quite strong. You have you have Sonic Wave, you have of course Echo Slam, you have the Hammer Drop from OD. It's going to be pretty massive. As long as they get their initiation. I think the pertinent thing here is the timing of Earthshaker's blink. They're going to have to rely on that, really, for the big slam. You're going to want to open with that every time.
Uh-oh.
Mineski does go with the AM. Okay.
I was about to say, and that is, look at that. Ajit does not have both the cosmetics for his blades, John. That's very upsetting. He's ruined the image of Anti-Mage. I was going to say, Cuckoo's Queen of Pain. It seemed like so much value in that Queen of Pain, right? Because you've got all these, the first 4 heroes of Mineski, in fact, all kind of require you to be locked down. And with that blink, I mean, although they are able to chain those stuns up on the Queen of Pain and keep her down, it does seem like Cuckoo can just bounce around the map and ensure he doesn't get caught out that easily. Not so much anymore. with Ajit on that anti-mage, that's going to be a bit of a different story now. In fact, it could work the other way around. Nevertheless, still, I mean, there's some massive targets for Ajit to use that ultimate on as well. In the OD, I mean, imagine. Mana Void on
it's
OD.
going to be massive.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely is. It's a good match to be AM. I feel like the exact things he said about Cuckoo's Queen of Pain, you could say about the AM here, Mike. He can get away quite a fair bit. I think the most instantaneous stun you can hope for is probably OD's Imprisonment, which is probably the fastest stun in game, which you can follow up with, maybe with well-timed Fissure from Earthshaker should be able to keep him down. But both of these heroes are going to have a pretty good time. There's no real instant Hex or anything like that. No Lion, no Shadow Shaman here to keep you down for too long. So they will have some free roam capability. Should be interesting to see how far both teams can push it out. And quite frankly, I'm glad we have such a dynamic draft coming out from both teams, Mike. It should be an exciting one to watch.
In terms of that Ajit AM, though, I mean, he has handicapped himself, John. So he's not going to have as good a balance with those two blades. But the right hand definitely looks like it has the heavier blade, John.
You would know the difference between two hands and holding stuff, wouldn't you, Mike?
Well, there was no need for that, Jonathan. We have young people watching. That is unacceptable. And before I forget, the draft HUD is gone. You almost made me forget that. I can't afford to do that again. I can't afford to do that a second time. For the love of God.
That's what you get when you don't train both of your hands properly, Mike. That's what you get. Always remember, when you're lifting weights, both hands need to work out.
Oh, yeah, you were talking about weights.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think? Dirty old sleaze? Sheesh.
Moving on. KP, currently reimagining himself in the 70s, doing a bit of a disco dance.
30 seconds.
Raging Potato will be there with him, just watching. KP, just a dance. Looks like there won't be any early game engagement for those bounty runes. Both teams probably going to be rather happy to just give 2 away and take 2 for themselves. Though I say that there are 2 heroes that have the ability to blink if they so choose, but of course they'd rather not level those up at level 1. And so it will be a 2 for 2 trade. A gentleman's agreement, if you will, John.
Certainly so, Mike. And I feel like these teams have played against each other so many times that they kind of know what happens when they just go for these runes, and they figure the safest place actually to just take each other's runes. And just do that, like take an entire side. So it's a fair enough move. I think a lot of times you do see that happen with teams that play each other a lot.
Let's shake things up.
So
well, that's a very good point, John. Well, it is a very good point, though, because against Tigers, you saw Mineski in both games getting very aggressive early on for those bounties. The TNC and Mineski, they kind of just sit back, they understand each other, they're not interested in engaging early on. They've got a game plan. Mel already with the all chat. Static Link was there. Meanwhile, top lane, Raging Potato. Nice double Burrow Strike coming out. Fissure, however, will trap him in. But he'll just run around the tree line and he'll be alright. Raging Potato. Be slightly careful not to overextend too much. Of course, they are up against the tri lane right now, which does make things slightly more difficult for the side of Mineski. While a bot lane, though, Cuckoo. In the gank potential on the Queen of Pain, it really doesn't seem like it's there at the bot lane.
No.
So Cuckoo probably just going to have a real safe time farming up. Like, he doesn't seem like he's going to be too bothered by Ninja Boogie on that Clockwork.
Yeah,
top lane.
There's no real threat here.
AU, about to fall Raging Potato. He couldn't get the last right click. But you were saying about the Queen of Pain, John.
There's just no gank potential down there. You have no way of locking this in. You have no instantaneous stuns. It's basically just trading farm for the most part. In fact, I feel like Ajit might have to be a bit careful as Queen of Pain's early damage is pretty darn good. So probably need to have Ninja Boogie here to cop most of that damage.
Cuckoo still being very frustrating, though. Ajit still farming fairly well on that anti-mage. Meanwhile, though, top lane KB does end up getting caught out. Gabby will claim the first blood on that Morphling, and there comes the... they are really planning to all chat in this game a lot, it seems like, TNC. And with that, I mean, I did mention, John, they can't really overextend in this tri lane. Like, you move a step too forward, and you're going to cop that Fissure, and you're just going to be stuck.
Yeah, it's really easy to punish overextensions for TNC. I feel like Mineski definitely have to watch out.
Warmel. Poured out by Ninja Boogie with that haste, although he fairy fires up. Ninja Boogie, he does manage to get the courier before he dies. There was a lot of items on that, John. A hell of a lot of items. And most of them were Armel's, it seems.
Yeah, that's going to be a rough time for Armel. Quite a fair bit. Lots of value there. I thought they'd prioritize the kill, but that courier does come out and gives him a bit more. Looks like they might still lose Moon, though.
And Moon didn't even realize he was still there, but he does end up going down, and that's 2 kills going to Armel. He's going to be very happy with that. He will actually TP straight back to the base, heal himself up, and well, I suppose he'll have... Well, I was going to say he'd make it back in time, but still, nevertheless, he makes the play. I was questioning that TP a bit, but then I realized he doesn't have a courier to use anyway, so he kind of has to make it.
Yeah, it was a fair move to make. Again, with that TP down, you know, he would still want some regen, so going home it's probably the best option. That was probably the best time to do it. Good start here for TNC, 0-3. Less than 1k net worth lead though, but it's a very good sign that their lanes are going as well as they are. And even that bot lane with just Cuckoo alone doing so much work. Really annoying the heck out of Ninja Boogie's Clockwork, which is going to cost him. Clockwork as a support requires so much XP. It would just be good, and if you can't find that XP, you're just kind of a liability, I have to say. So the fact that he has to soak very little from this lane and not even harass Cuckoo out as much is a bit costly for Mineski.
Well, it seems like Ajit's at that point, though, where he could probably, you know, help himself to harassing Cuckoo. Got that level 2 mana break now, and not only the added damage, but especially that the mana being drained from Cuckoo is very, very effective up against a hero like Queen of Pain. However, unfortunately for Ajit, Cuckoo had bottled up a regen rune earlier on. He'll be back up to full mana pretty much immediately. Meanwhile, top lane, Raging Potato, gonna be okay. They continue the chase onto AU, but KP does get stunned up. Nevertheless, they get the bounty, and now they want to turn that one around, though. Burrow Strike does come out. Here comes Gabby to try and help out here as well, and it looks like they're really not going to get anything out of this. Mineski playing this well and wasting enough time. Meanwhile, the Clockwork ends up going down. Cuckoo ends up finding a nice pickoff for himself. And Ajit, looks like they were doing the exact same thing over at bot lane. Cuckoo, he does manage to outplay them.
Yeah, again, it comes down to the support Clockwork. Ninja Boogie's stuck at level 2, just about to hit level 3, but he's not going to super just yet. So.
Gabby, gonna be okay. Stuns were not long enough. He was able to just strength morph up, and with that, he will just salve himself up now. Meanwhile, Cuckoo, however, a lot of trouble. Can't blink away, and Ajit finds a very important kill for himself. Ninja Boogie gives him the tip immediately. Top lane, AU looks to set up a Raging Potato, who does dodge with that Sandstorm. Perfectly fine. Just walk away to safety.
Yeah, again, really chaotic game so far. Nearly a kill per minute. It's been a while since we've seen a fairly active game like this, and I have to tell you, Mike, I miss it. I miss this kind of speed from both teams, and just trying to get the one-up on each other every single time. Looks like they are giving Ninja Boogie the mid lane just for a bit to soak up some EXP. He really can't contest the OD right now, though, but he needs that EXP. He needs that fast 6. They have Moon in the jungle, just farming up for a bit.
KP, top lane, he got caught out, and meanwhile, Ajit gets Cuckoo again down to that bot lane. Mana Void was committed for that, but that's, I mean, it's just Mana Void. Who the hell cares? It's well worth it for that Queen of Pain kill.
Definitely is. It's a pretty decent start for Ajit, all things considered. Not a great start from Mineski overall, but Ajit is doing fine in this lane. Probably not as much as he would if he soloed it for the XP, but, you know, he might have been overtaken just a bit if that was the case, so. Is going quite well. Should have a decent time with that Battle Fury, which, again, is crucial for the AMs every single time. You want that up early on so your farm accelerates that much earlier and you become a threat faster. Looks like he's probably going to hit good timing, maybe around 12 to 15 minutes, somewhere around there with boots.
Looks like we're about to have some action at top lane. Raging Potato almost got caught out, but he's okay for the moment. Looks like everyone will just back off, back to farming for you guys. Raging Potato just going to try and soak some XP from those neutral creeps. We'll back off eventually. Meanwhile, Armel looks like he's just committed to just farming up the jungle now. Giving Tims and Cuckoo that XP in mid lane. Of course, I think Cuckoo realizes now with that anti-mage, he can't stick around in lane any further. Like, especially by himself. As soon as he loses all his mana, he's pretty much dead.
Yeah, it's a rough time, and that's one of the pitfalls of Queen of Pain against AM. That's one of the pitfalls of TNC's draft. Outside of Morphling, everyone's a pretty nice target for that. At least the two cores are, for sure, very big targets for that ultimate from AM, and it's going to be a bit worrying if they do let that happen, because it's not too hard for a Jit to just buy BKB later on and jump in after a lot of mana's been expended and just blow everyone up.
Yeah, absolutely. Both teams will calm it down a bit. Just focusing again on getting that farm up. Looks like Arjit has moved over to the mid lane, so planning to potentially just follow Cuckoo around. Rotation now from Mineski. KP and Ninja Boogie will leave the lane. Currently walking towards mid where Tims is. Not that high priority of a target, but a kill's a kill at the end. KP actually just going to hide in the tree line and use that Diabolic Edict. Nice dodge there by Tims on that Burrow Strike from Raging Potato. Though now Mineski could be in trouble. AU, they're going to jump in with Cuckoo first. Raging Potato, he's threatening the Burrow Strike. He didn't even have it. Nice dodge there. KP, he will end up losing, and now Cuckoo could be in trouble. Mana Void immediately coming out, and they will find a nice trade. Najit being given the kill again, and I mean, it looked good at the start, right? Like, they got KP on that Leshrac again, and effectively, if they keep doing this Leshrac's going to be useless. The only problem is, all these kills on the Queen of Pain are going straight to Arjit on the AM.
Yeah, it's going to be an issue for TNC, as, you know, the same way that Queen of Pain would be an issue for Mineski if it grew big, you know, for TNC it's going to be an issue if AM grows big, because again, they kind of lack the rec lockdown to keep them in place for too long. And Ajit is really overtaking in the last hits board, not as much as the OD, but he's definitely having a better time than Gabby, who surprisingly is a full 10 CS behind. Could be down to AM's, you know, jungle rotations, just managing to blink in and out of that area, are much better between waves. Whereas, as Morphling, you're really not able to do that as well. So, farm is definitely not as good for Gabby, which is going to be a bit of an issue. Ajit, again, is going to hit a very good timing in this Battle Fury. Just about 1,000 gold behind, so around maybe 12 minutes, 13 minutes, I want to say. 13 minutes, probably when we're going to see it if his farm just goes well and he's not killed. And that's a really good timing for that Battle Fury to come out.
Oh, certainly so. Ajit, a very happy man right now. Look at Gabby as well. He's quite far behind the AM. He's about 1k behind in terms of net worth. Of course, Morphlings can catch up rather fast, but this is an AM we're talking about. Like, he has a free blink, and he's going to have a Battle Fury. Like, he's not going to outfarm an AM anytime soon. Looks like TNC going to have a pretty nice mid game for themselves. Otherwise, that late game is going to be super tough for them.
Yeah, it's not getting any easier. They have given Gabby a pretty free time up top. Looks like he might be able to clear out this top tier 1. In fact, it is pretty much gone at this point. First tower going the way of TNC. Does kind of make up for it. Again, 3 to 6, 12 minutes in. About 1k net lead for TNC. Not the biggest, but it's still something to get them going.
Got a smoke up on Mineski right now. They found Cuckoo, but that's not the target they want. Just blinks away immediately. While TNC have a smoke of their own, but it is broken by Ninja Boogie, and he gets a nice hook shot straight onto AU. That should be a dead Ventral Spirit. Although, no, he swaps Gabby!
What?
What?
Yikes. That was a close one.
Yeah.
Gabby dropped so low. If they just had one follow-up stun, or just one nuke on point, he would have been dead. And that would have been 2 heroes dead.
Was the first ability, was that... He did swap twice, right?
No.
Yeah.
He swapped, and we saw, I believe, Waveform come out from Gabby.
Okay, that makes sense. That was a very close call, however. Very close indeed. The stun was perfectly timed out from the Leshrac KP. Nevertheless.
That probably doesn't feel too good to watch. I certainly had a big question mark in my head when that happened. A bit too close for comfort. I feel like if TNC is going to repeat that, they have to watch it a bit. Could get pretty costly if it doesn't go right.
Bot lane, Tim's. Raging Potato, gonna burrow strike away. He'll be alright. Cuckoo. Can't really contest this Razor mid lane right now either. But Cuckoo has fallen behind in levels. Sitting at level 9 right now, but certainly not the place you want to be if you are the Queen of Pain. Raging Potato, able to defend a tier 1 bot tower pretty much by himself, just using that Sandstorm. He's more than comfortable to just sit there and allow the creeps to take damage.
It's a lot of damage, Mike, early on, and just that invisibility means you will have to expend some resources to catch him out, or just start fissuring randomly in hopes of catching him out. But it does make pushing very hard, and I feel like they are maximizing that in the Mineski's end. They understand that they're probably not set for team fights anyway, so might as well just
hook shot. Ninja Boogie saves the day for KP for the moment, but nice swap comes out. Mel gonna take down Ninja Boogie. It looked like a great save. In fact, they found KP anyway with the Fisher. Tim's was in position. Cuckoo actually misses the scream, but it doesn't matter. Armel will claim the double for himself. Meanwhile, mid.
Oh my god. Gabby.
Yeah. He was chasing down Moon, but Moon just jukes him out. And, well, as you can see by the tips, John, he kind of got outplayed.
That was a serious bait. I feel like he wanted to use that morph to turn into Razor to get that plasma field off, but he had no mana. I don't think he had enough mana. He had 122 on death. It's 125. He was 3 mana off getting that kill, Mike.
Yeah, well, bot lane, they found Ninja Boogie again. Of course, he was going after the bounties. He will make his way up north, but the bounty there has already been taken. I feel like this is just an eventual death in the end, although he is juking them out.
Whoa.
Meanwhile, KP finds AU, and somehow Ninja Boogie is still alive. He has no mana for the hook shot. He will eventually go down. Meanwhile, mid lane, KP now being chased down by Cuckoo. Blink is available, and he's going to jump for it, and he will find him. Nice pickup from the Queen of Pain. And, I was saying before that the Queen of Pain was the one falling behind in levels. She's now 11. You look to KP, he's not even level 9 yet. He's just about to hit that mark, but he's having a real tough time on this Leshrac.
Yeah, it's not an easy game for him, and I feel like it's just going to get worse. He's not going to get the farm priority either. I feel like you're going to have to prioritize, of course, Ajit's AM. You're probably going to give Razor the jungle as well, which is what Moon has been doing anyway. And you're eventually going to need some farm up on Raging Potato's Sand King. Does have that blink up, so maybe he can afford to share some with KP now, but it's just the nature of Leshrac. We've said it time and time again, when it falls behind, it's just very hard to play back up.
Hims wants to go after Moon, although he has a bit of help, but he commits the Echo Slam, and now the hook shot comes in. But can they get away? No, they cannot. Mineski are starting to melt. They'll find 2, and now they'll find a 3rd. TNC perfectly positioned themselves. Mineski, they didn't really see that coming. They had a bit of help around, but fortunately it wasn't enough. Armel just hits way too hard on that OD.
Yeah, again, a bit keen coming out from Mineski. I feel like they shouldn't be the ones forcing out these fights, right? You have the AM, you kind of just want to buy him as much space as possible, push where you can, and just drain the map dry. You do not force team fights into an Earthshaker, a Queen of Pain, an OD. I mean, there's a lot more team fight going on there. Sure, you have a Clockwork. Sure, you have a Sand King. But it's very rough if you don't land that combination. It's much easier for TNC to get big AoE control going.
Scan out by Mineski. They have smoked up. Raging Potato. Immediate smoke break and blink from Armel, although he gets Burrow Striked anyway, and now Ajit comes in. The nice swap from AU to save the day for the moment. They root him in place. Can they burst him down? However, Armel still alive throughout all this. Now the hook shot goes out. AU gonna die, but probably gonna be more than happy that his OD's alive, and they find the return kill, although Gabby ends up going down. There's the Sonic Wave Cuckoo! He hits 3 heroes, and now Moon's the only one left. It looks like he's just gonna go down here. What a team fight coming out from TNC. I mean, they kept Armel alive for so darn long, John. He managed to get away and heal up. And Cuckoo just comes in the end and cleans it all up for the side of the Dire.
That was ridiculous. They spent so much time, as you said, chasing Armel. They even blasted him with Mana Void, but he didn't expend too much mana at that point. So he just gets away scot-free. That's just a lot of Force Staffs as well. I would say at least 2 Force Staffs coming out there, but I only see 1, so I'm just gonna say 1 Force Staff. And they really bought enough time for him. Cuckoo just coming at the right time, and ooh, they got.
He was under a Sentry Ward, and now the Burrow Strike won't catch him out in time. Looks like TNC were waiting for one more hero to rotate over. Nevertheless, 9-17, and believe it or not, the net worth lead is only 1k the way of TNC, and that's mostly because this AM continues to pretty much free farm throughout the game. Not really engaging too much at all. Ajit. Well, actually, he's in a bit of trouble. He will blink away. And he'll continue to stack, but just be careful.
Pretty nasty Ancients to cop some damage from.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really the nature of AM, as we always say. He does enjoy being in front more. The fact that his net worth is tied to the OD is not ideal. I'd go so far as to say that it's a very worrying sign. It's kind of like an alchemist keeping gold equilibrium with someone else. You don't want your alch to be equal to someone. You want him way above, and that's kind of almost the same logic with an AM. Not quite as severe, but it's still not a very good sign.
TNC looking to continue this aggression. They may run into Raging Potato, although no, he runs the other way. Armel will just commit to farming on that OD once again. Meanwhile, Mineski, they will go for the bot tier 1 tower, which was still standing. I say it should be pretty easy to take, though there are rotations. Now Cuckoo jumps in. They miss the hook shot, but they root him in place thanks to that Rod of Atos, and Cuckoo, he gets astraled up from Armel. The Raging Potato Epicenter is coming in. He doesn't actually blink fast enough. He goes on Armel, but he's got the BKB, and the Sanities will take care of Moon. Meanwhile, Gabby misses the burrow as well, but he's still going after Raging Potato, who can't really get away from this unless he has another second, but he doesn't. He'll go down in the nick of time. Ajit manages to find the Earth Spirit, the Earth Shaker, but that's not going to be the best trade in the world. And Cuckoo apparently found Ninja Boogie as well.
Yeah, and it's pretty much falling apart here a bit for Mineski. Granted, again, they are just trying to buy space for Ajit, but they've lost a lot of ground in the map. They've lost a lot of kills. 10-20, 2k net worth lead only for TNC though, so it's not the most dire of situations here. They do still have quite a fair bit to play with. They have a lot of space to really catch up and close the gap with, but it is a bit worrying when you're about half the kills at 20 minutes in. But nonetheless, I think that really just falls down onto the draft and the playstyle of Mineski right now. They really are just putting all their eggs on Ajit, hoping that he gets big enough to take on these fights later on.
Yeah, absolutely. Gotta say, I really do enjoy the itemization of Cuckoo right now as well. He went for a Guardian Greaves and that Queen of Pain, and it's really seemingly helping out quite a lot in these team fights. But that added heal and mana that you get, as well as the Dispel, it's not something you see that's too standard on a Queen of Pain, John, but it's working.
Definitely is. gives him a lot of burst sustain, and with the way TNC's been playing, Cuckoo has been in front a lot of times. So it does kind of make sense to make him tankier, just have him be in front, initiate like that, have him dispel himself when he needs to, and I think it's really paying off dividends here. He is going for that type of insight as well next, so Cuckoo is playing really that front line sort of Queen of Pain, copying all the damage, starting out the fights, distracting everyone from bigger targets such as the OD or even the Earthshaker, just being really annoying in the middle of everything. So it does work out well for Cuckoo, and we'll see if he can keep up momentum. I think the one issue I see with itemizing like that is that it definitely puts your Queen of Pain on a bit of a timer, right? It will work out well, maybe up to the 45-minute mark. After that, you probably wish you had more core-like items.
TNC smoked up as 5, and if they can find Ajit, it'd be massive, but he does blink towards the right side. They'll get KP instead, and this man is having a really tough game, though he does get the Yules off. Cuckoo again in the front lines, and that Sonic Wave hitting on 2. Now Ninja Boogie's gone as well. Moon, he has a 10-second BKB charge, but it's not going to matter too much apparently. Burrow Strike is there, although it will not save Raging Potato. It's pretty much guaranteed to die, and he will. Cuckoo finds himself a double, and it looks like they should be able to claim the tier 2 tower out of that as well.
Do opt to pull back instead, and it does look like they are playing a bit conservatively. Gonna take the Roche first, just to make sure everything's all nice and clean for the next engagement, which does make sense. They are scouted out, so gonna have to call that off. I am still a bit surprised that despite having a pretty significant kill lead for TNC, the gold is just not there, Mike. It's a 1k advantage for TNC right now, and I feel like, you know, the ball is still definitely in Mineski's court. I mean, it's still in the court, and either side can take it at this point. It's not as one-sided as you would think based on the past few fights.
Well, that's all really down to Ajit though. Like, he's farming like an absolute madman, trying his absolute best to keep his team in it, and he's doing a good job of it. Like, it's consistently been between him and Armel. They've been fighting over that top net worth spot, but Ajit now with a convincing lead of 3k in front of Armel. Gabby, not really in that equation. He's sitting at about 12k. He's quite far behind the AM as well. TNC, the one thing they can't afford to do right now in this game is they can't really afford to make mistakes. It feels like 1 or 2 mistakes, 1 or 2 lost team fights, and suddenly you're going to have Mineski knocking on knocking on their door instead.
Yeah, that's the one thing when you're playing against an AM. You're always kind of on the edge as you approach that late game. Make sure you're winning everyone else, but if you don't know where that AM is, if you're not careful in your team fights, he can just jump in, blow you up, or, you know, conversely not give a damn and push the side lanes really fast. So fast that you can't really respond until a building's gone. So it's something you have to watch out for. It's something you always watch out for when you're playing against an AM. And I think TNC is probably cognizant of that, which is why they have been trying to get these early fights going.
TNC eyeing out Raging Potato at that top lane. Looks like they are going to have a go at him. Fisher will be there, and Armel immediately jumps in, and Raging Potato though, nice Burrow Strike, but Armel just drops the hammer. Not interested in playing around with him, although they found Cuckoo in that mid-rune, and they burst him. The Yules is there as well, but nobody else is jumping in from Mineski to help out. And Cuckoo pretty much barely took any damage from that. May go for a team fight anyway on the side of Mineski though, because they know the Sanity's Eclipse is gone and they are going to get started, although TNC are the ones engaging, and now Ajit, he finally joins in, and Hookshot completely whiffed Cuckoo. So has to be very careful. Meanwhile, Gabby jumps straight onto Moon, really wants this Razor pickup, and he will morph into the Anti-Mage and blink out of there. So neither team really winning or losing anything. There was a buyback, however, being expended from Raging Potato throughout all that, so I guess in the end, TNC do come out on top.
I feel like that's a fair point to make. TNC probably does win that exchange. Sure, nothing really got lost for either sides, but you do waste a buyback on Sand King, which is fairly significant. I feel like now that you did buy back, you probably want to do something with it. A smoke would be really good at this point. but they are walking under wards anyway, so probably something.
They smoked.
Ah.
TNC will jump in straight onto Moon mid lane, though. Can they burst him? Yes, they can. Sonic Wave was there just in case with a nice epicenter, but it won't be enough quite yet. AU is the only one really trapped in here, and it looks like he's more than happy to die for the team. And now Cuckoo jumps back in. I'm not sure about that one. He actually blinks the other way, and Gabby will come in and clean up Ninja Boogie. Are they going to go for more? Ajit is still farming that mid lane. Raging Potato, currently in the Sandstorm right now. No detection available on TNC to really scout him out, and looks like they'll just leave him be. And Ajit is there, throws out the Fisher, but he's got no help. So with that, a 2-for-1 trade, again TNC coming out on top.
Yeah, definitely much more convincing coming out from TNC there. They do manage to find a couple of kills, and once again, Mineski's just left to take the scraps. She's killing that bench. Really not the biggest kill at this point. I mean, despite all the deaths AU has, he's level 14, has pretty good EXP progression anyway. Has Tranquil Boots up and a stick, which I guess as a pos 5 Venge is really all you could ask for. And he's pretty set to do what he has to do, which is swap people out or swap people in and drop her armor, stun every now and again. That's basically it.
TNC, they are screaming. It didn't end up connecting. So Raging Potato was actually able to blink out of there. He was just on the edge of that sandstorm, so nice positioning from him. Looks like both teams are just prepared to go for a Roche fight wherever necessary. Mineski actually drawing a lineup. They are going to smoke. They can win a nice team fight here. An easy Roshan for them would be very, very nice. The smoke is broken thanks to AU. He was standing on the high ground. That's more than enough, and with that, they're not going to get anything out of that smoke rotation. While they were doing that, TNC, they were just free farming their jungle.
Yeah, again, a bit of wasted time here from Mineski. Wasted smoke, really. Issue with that is that smokes are limited resources of sorts. You will have to wait for them to refresh after wasting a couple, so this will slow down Mineski's gank potential just a bit, and is an opportunity for TNC themselves.
Nice shield coming out from Ajit. Repelled the Scythe of Vice that just came up on Armel. Very nice play from him. Quick reactions. Armel now can't really go for the surprise factor with that Scythe of Vice. Except they are going to start pushing in mid lane, but Raging Potato is in perfect position to go for a nice Burrow Strike if they do push any further. And that is really the story of the game right now. Like, neither team really wants to engage, it seems. They just want the big man. The Roshan is just sitting there waiting to be taken. But neither team are going to allow each other to really go for it.
Yeah, and both sides really have good ways of spotting that out. You have the Vengeful Spirit for TNC, just spamming the wave. You have the Clockwork with his Flare, of course. So neither side is going to be able to take that unnoticed, unless a big team fight breaks out first. It's something to expect after the team fight anyway.
Looks like Mineski, though. They're going to go for another smoke attempt. Maybe not Ninja Boogie. He's holding one right now, but doesn't use it quite yet. Basher did just come out onto the anti-mage, and looks like he will be going straight into that Abyssal next. That Basher, so darn important. You've really got to be able to lock down the 3 cores of TNC, because they all have ways of escaping. Like, you've got a Queen of Pain, an OD, and a Morphling. Unless they're perma-stunned, you're not killing them. So, Ajit probably been trying to get that for a while now, and especially once that Abyssal's up, he's going to be a very, very happy AM. Cuckoo.
Yep.
Found Moon mid lane, Tims. Oh, he hits the Fisher. He hits the blind, but they haven't found him. Moon! He was there, but They didn't really see him, and now with that, the Burrow Strike comes out. Arjit in the middle of all this, trying to deal the damage, and now the Echo comes out from Tim's. Where's the damage though? Cuckoo, Sonic Wave burst one down. Raging Potato will be the second. The buybacks are coming in. KP being chased down on the Leshrac right now, and it looks like he's gone as well. Arjit has no idea who to help at the moment. There's too many damn people that need it. Meanwhile, Moon trying to come back in though. Uh-oh, Gabby found his way in, and they will find a double for him. I mean, it wasn't too bad of a team fight for the side of Mineski. They do end up finding Armel and AU on that Vengeful Spirit, but they end up losing 4 of their own, and they do get a buyback out from their Clockwork. Not the greatest of news if you're on the side of Mineski.
Definitely not great news for Mineski. Really starting to struggle here a bit. Gabby has grown significantly bigger than they might have expected. Sure, you managed to grab that OD. I don't think he's the big threat now. I think the big threat is really on Gabby and even Cuckoo. These two guys have been very disruptive in these team fights, and they've been causing a lot of issues. So you will have to watch out for those two heroes more so than that OD, because I think the OD, he's going to do a lot of damage in a team fight, sure. Oh.
Yeah. They went for a Roshan. Arjit punishes immediately, and now Cuckoo jumps in. In fact, it was Gabby, excuse me, that jumped in, although he's in a bit of trouble right now. In fact, he does waveform out. He goes after KP. KP's the one in trouble, in fact. Arjit trying to find Cuckoo. The Burrow Strike will be there, though. Nice swap, and Cuckoo's out of there. Now Arjit, again, trying to find a target to hold down. AU juking him around, and he actually gets away from him. And they find another Enraging Potato, and that Roshan is still TNC's.
That's a lot of people fighting over one guy, man.
It's a big guy, John.
Very big guy. It does look like TNC will manage to get it this time. I really don't think Ajit's keen on jumping in by himself. You take it. So the Aegis does go the way of Gabby, and this guy's gonna be an issue. Killing him twice over is a very tall order to expect from Mineski when they're already struggling to kill him once.
Well, he keeps morphing into the Queen of Pain, John. Just having the waveform and the blink available, it's just so frustrating to go up against. Now look, you've got 2 Queen of Pains chasing poor Moon. 2 Shadow Strikes. And now waveform comes out. Moon, he's BK beat up, but so much damage coming out from Gabby. The static link will slow things down, but Cuckoo cleans him up, and he's now on a godlike streak, 12 to 13 with 16 assists. Meanwhile, mid lane, KP again being caught out by Armel. He does manage to get away, and now they want to turn this one around though. Armel, 4 stuff was there, and Gabby again jumping in. In fact, the Morphling, he will morph back into himself. Can Raging Potato get out of this one? He does Burrow Strike, but he is trapped, and again, 2 lovely Queen of Pains on him. Does end up going down. 2 more lost for Mineski.
Yeah, and it's really starting to pile up now here for Mineski. 14 to 35, 6k net for TNC, and I think this is when, the land starts to slip a bit under Mineski's feet. We're going to see this tier 2 go down, and suddenly that's one high ground exposed. I feel like TNC should be confident enough to take this. They still have the Aegis. They have Gabby with so much gap closing potential.
Yeah, and he goes in straight away onto Ninja Boogie, who's in a lot of trouble, and he gets bursted. I mean, you've got 2 heroes that hit like trucks and that can blink in straight onto you. It's sort of ridiculous, and Gabby's doing it again. This time, won't be so lucky, but again, he has the Aegis, so he can take these risks. With that, Ajit jumps in by himself right now, and now the epicenter with the Burrow is quite nice onto 2 heroes though. TNC, they're going to take the team fight. Raging Potato will use himself up, and now Moon comes in as well. It's a lot of damage, but they've lost Raging Potato. Now Tim's, he'll be astraled up. Moon does not want to die right now. He can't really afford to either. Cuckoo, is he going to continue the chase? No, he's not. But Mineski, they lose another hero, even though it did look like they were in the driver's seat.
Yeah, it's starting to feel like Mineski is lacking the tools to really take these 5v5s now. The defense is not coming out any easier. I feel like the Clockwork pick has, it's a bit detrimental at this point, because with that Clockwork, you really want that early aggression once you hit 6. They did try. It just didn't pay off from Mineski's side, so, Ninja Bogey's stuck at level 11 now. It's not a great spot to be at 36 minutes in. And I feel like you really can't expect him to contribute too much besides being a ward carrier now, a little ward caddy.
Yeah.
He's not going to get farm prioritization, he's not going to get EXP prioritization, so that means he's not going to have level 3 hook, or higher level cogs, or a force staff. So he can't even just trap someone outside of the fight. Even if he did, the bench could just swap him out.
Yeah, on the bright side though, John, he can tell the time. Cuckoo.
Absolutely.
Gonna find him. Ninja Boogie. Doesn't really know where to go. He's kind of surrounded, and in fact, they're finding more right now. Tims doesn't find anybody. Cuckoo will, of course, find the kill into Ninja Boogie. KP managed to TP out in time. Armel continuing the tipping game. At the very least, they found the tier 2 bot tower on the side of Mineski, so they got something. But man, the momentum is all TNC, and the net worth lead right now sitting at 11k. 27k is on the AM, but again, he just doesn't seem to be able to hold anyone down long enough.
He needs to do so much for this team to really win these team fights. It's hard to expect so much from one hero, Mike.
Well, he's got an MKB now, Joe. They do smoke up. This could be the team fight they needed. I scan out to know where they are, and they're going to take their time and loop all the way around to make sure nobody's behind them. Cuckoo would be a very nice target for them, though it seems like TNC are kind of aware of what's going on here. They stay close together, and they keep moving down towards the south. More rocket players coming out, and now they found Cuckoo, though the swap from AU was immediate, and now he's not even dead. Moon, BKB's up. They're going after AU, and they will find him, but they committed so much for that, and they're going to lose KP in the process, or will they? KP is gone. Meanwhile, Gabby found Ninja Boogie. I mean, you got a Vengeful Spirit, but like, how much do you have to commit just for a support kill?
A lot, apparently. I mean, they dropped down the Mana Void there, they dropped down so many skills.
Oh, here we go again. Yeah, Moon's dead. No buyback available on him. Rax is definitely gone at the bot lane. They can't claim Mega Creeps yet, because there is a top tier 2 tower, so they will have to back off now. And the Aegis did just expire on Gabby as well, so he may not want to take the risk, but things are going from bad to worse from Mineski. Gabby apparently just goes back in and claims Ninja Boogie as well. I wasn't expecting that, John. That's why I wasn't pointing the camera there, but apparently he can just do that.
I mean, it's a level 25 Morphling with Butterflies and Yasha and and a Eye of Scotty Might. It's not hard to kill a level 11 Clockwork with all of those items. Which goes back to the previous point. It's this Clockwork pick from Mineski. It looked promising at the start, but there's a reason why the hero's really tapered off as a support. And it's mainly this. Like, if you don't get that, if you don't get those perfect ganks going, if you don't get that momentum going onto that, mid game, I want to say, you just kind of taper off. You can't flash farm, you can't wave clear too well. You have no innate way of getting yourself some gold. It's a rough time once you're behind, and your impact just grows less and less and less. Some might argue that having this flare is great, and I won't disagree. It is kind of like having a map hack every, 14 seconds or so, but there's only so much that information can do for you when you are severely lacking in resources to do anything with that information.
Well, to be fair as well, John, I feel like that rocket flare kind of worked against them in that last smoke attempt. Because they rocketed probably about 3 times throughout that smoke, and I mean, every time the rocket flare came out, TNC kind of got an idea as to where they were. Because they continue to back off and go towards the south end of the map. I have to agree, like, the Clockwork pick, not a bad one, but if you don't get the start you want, comes a bit of a liability. With that, final tier 2 tower is now gone. Shrines are gone as well. The only thing left is that one final Rax down at that top lane, but for the moment, TNC are chasing or Arjit on that AM. He will manage to TP out just in time. Meanwhile, mid lane, Moon will get started on AU. Cuckoo is there, however. And he did have backup coming in. They did actually commit a smoke for that as well. Looks like they will find nothing out of this. Well, mid lane, who have they jumped on? They found the Earthshaker Tims, although he's still not dead. And now the Fisher comes out. Sonic Wave, the hammer being dropped as well. Armel's cleaning up in the backlines, and they're going to go for even more. Arjit cannot find a kill. AU just keeps swapping everyone out. And Arjit, he does get a Mana Void off. He'll find Tims at the very least. So is he going to die here? It looks like he just may. Cuckoo found him, and with Gabby, yeah, they call GG. They've had enough. There was no buyback available on the anti-mage anyway, but TNC, someone slipped something in their coffee today, John, because they really came to play.
They definitely have, Mike. They're showing us why they won the ESG, of course, you know, even without Cuckoo at that time. And a lot of people seem to have disliked Cuckoo coming back, but quite frankly, they're looking pretty damn good anyway. 16 to 47, 42 minutes in, 24k net worth lead, and they basically set the momentum of the game. I'd say that's a pretty good look for TNC as we go out of Game 1, and I'm looking forward to Game 2, Mike.
Certainly so, John. If I may, I mean, we talked a lot about Cuckoo and Gabby and Armel, but I've got to say, AU did a fantastic job on that Vengeful Spirit. Like, how many times did he swap his teammate out with barely a slither of HP, and they would come back with full HP and win the team fight?
Way too many times to count. Just so much value coming out from that Venge pick, and you can definitely see why this here is within the first phase bans nowadays. I feel like you should look into prioritizing that. Its potential now with that reworked ultimate does do a lot more, so you have to watch out for that. And yeah.
Sorry, John, I don't mean to cut you off, but we are going into the lobby, which means I do have to switch over to the standby screen. But you are watching, of course, thank you. We'll be right back with you, as you can see in just a moment, for game number 2. Won't be too long, guys.